what really drives me is finding out how we can ensure that a community and individuals within that community's voices are still heard in our planning processes and in our democratic processes, and when we're deciding how a community adapts, that the community is part of that we. I've spent the last 8 years now very much researching coastal environments and how people adapt to their changing coasts. So for me, what's been really, formative and driven me to look at small communities is that idea that they often miss out on the opportunities that larger towns or cities might have. That could be something as simple as a seawall isn't going to be affordable to a smaller community in the same way that those expenses are economically justified for larger towns. The world is changing very rapidly the whole time. So we're seeing climate change, we're seeing environmental change, we're also seeing social change, we're seeing economic change, we might face personal crises. They're also having to face changes such as what's happening out in the ocean that can really affect people who have marine livelihoods, that fish behaviour is changing, they're not showing up in the same numbers as they used to or in different locations, but also things like some of my research looks at the seaweed influxes that have been occurring around the world. For example, across the tropical Atlantic, a lot of large, but especially also smaller communities have been grappling with tons of this sargassum seaweed showing up on their beaches. Now, in some locations, that's really negatively impactful because those beaches were previously where tourists would come and spend a lot of money locally and enjoy those pristine beaches. In other locations, that's really negatively impactful because the beaches is where people's fishing boats are launched, and the seaweed not only gets tangled in the fishing gear and the engines themselves, but also within the nets when people are trying to haul the fish and catch fish, they're catching seaweed and rubbish instead. So I'm really fortunate within my research at the School of Geography and Environmental Science that I feel like I'm being supported to both continue rather mature research projects and ideas that I was already involved in, as well as develop early sort of pilot exploratory work. I went and gave a talk at one of the communities that we had done research in and was able to interact with the people we'd spoken to, as well as other community members, and I guess in a way, it's a very small way, give back by explaining to them what we'd found and what we'd be doing next with the research. What I do want to emphasize is that all these challenges can also be opportunities. So there is a reason why coastal communities exist, and it's that the coasts are these beautiful, abundant places to live and make a living. And it's up to researchers and entrepreneurs and hopefully coastal communities to find ways to turn these negative challenges into hopefully positive change.